Warning, viewers' discretion is advised as this may contain mature or triggering content. Story prompt: Writer's block. Title: Give Me a Break. Miss Anne, we need you to finish this book soon. You told your editor last week you would have it done. He informed us that you haven't even moved from the point you were at last week. While he may be more lenient and tolerant to you not working on this, we are your publishing company, and we cannot and will not do so. Your time, our money, even your adoring readers are waiting for you to finish this book. We can only delay it for so long before they start to lose interest. The woman's voice grumbled over the phone. It made Jules sigh. I'm sorry, I'm trying, I really am, but I just can't seem to write anything. That's not our problem, the woman hissed through the phone. Either you get the book done within a week's time, or we will have to inform your readers that the series has come to an end. You know how disappointed they would be, not to mention what that could do to your popularity. We have other new and aspiring authors that are fresh, but good. They will fill the gap if you fell. Before Jules could speak, the call ended and she groaned, running a hand over her face. Why can't they understand I just need a break? Her voice ragged as tears threatened to spill. She shook her head. No, come on, we've got this. We've pulled off far more miracles than this. A few chapters in a week, that can be done. She stood smacking her cheeks to try and amp herself up to get the job done. She didn't want to let her fans down. She moved to her computer stand, turning on her computer and letting it load while she made herself some dragon fruit tea. She pulled up the file labeled My Heart's End, The Fallen, Book 4. She had felt so strongly about this series, loving each and every one of her angels and humans that she created, their love lives, their tragedies, their character growth. Books 1 through 3 had flown onto the pages with such ease, creating the not-so-heavenly world the angels struggled to live in once they found themselves cast down to earth, each holding a certain goal they had to obtain before they could be redeemed. She loved these characters. She loved being able to connect with each book by mentions of the main characters to the other books. She stared at it now. She knew she loved working on this book, and knew how much her readers enjoyed the characters, how excited they had been to finally get a book about their boy Veltro. He had been the helpful boyo throughout all the previous books, watching over his comrades and secretly helping them when they needed it, which was how he had landed himself to be one of the fallen. Jules sighed as she stared at the point she had stopped. There were only 4 more chapters left and the book would be complete. Only 4, but those 4 chapters were still so important. They were needed. She pulled up another doc, scanning over the character sheets she had always set up, reading over them again, hoping it'd send a spark through her. Unfortunately, as she read over them, she felt downed. She knew she loved these characters, and she wanted to see the story to the end, but as she looked at all of it, she simply got nothing. There was no pull, no urge to write. Her fingers didn't even twitch at the prospect of writing. All she felt was a strange emptiness. Her mind that was normally willing with ideas was blank. She groaned, resting her head on her wrist rest pad in front of her keyboard. Why can't I even think of anything? Jules closed her eyes, the sinking feeling of defeat moving in. She hadn't even eaten today, and the day was almost over. It wasn't that she hadn't been trying to write. She did. She had even forced herself to write, but it was nothing more than trash. It didn't feel like her writing, as she had read over it. It looked like someone else had written the section of the chapter for her. It was out of place. She sighed once more before sitting back. Maybe if I go look at comments from my fans. She nodded. It always cheered her up. She typed in her author's page before clicking on the comments section, hoping to get back into her groove. but the first comment stabbed into her like a knife. Anonymous 123. Has anyone noticed she's gotten slower? Kill BB. No kidding. She put out the first 2 books of this series only 4 months apart. I was so surprised. But it's been half a year since her 3rd one of the Fallen series. I'm starting to worry. Jules scrolled before pausing on a comment made by someone with the username Vels1. I was so looking forward to this one, our boy Veltro finally going to get the love he deserved. I'd take him in a heartbeat. I hope she's doing okay. You guys commenting on her speed should be thankful she worked so quickly on the first ones. Another comment echoed the same sentiments, and it made Jules feel a tad better. But Anonymous 123 and Kill BB, along with a few others, didn't seem to be as hopeful or patient. Kill BB chiming in once again. Kill BB. Still though, you have to admit, something must be off. Maybe she felt too much pressure to bring forward a character that had appeared in the back scenes of her previous books. Anonymous 123. Kill BB is right. What if Miss Author tried this and then messed up Veltro? What would you do if Veltro's book turns him into something he wasn't in the previous books? Vels1. Well, I would be upset, but if his change makes sense, then I could get down with it, I guess. Besides, I doubt that would be the case. Miss Anne is amazing, and she always does the best for her characters, for us, her readers. Even if there are small points that some can't agree with, they are there for a reason. Jules frowned. What if that had happened, though? She asked aloud, echoing the others' doubts as if they were her own. If she were to be honest, it had almost happened. She had almost slipped from Veltro's original character, falling in line with Book 2's main boy, Falden. It had felt like Veltro was just too good of a guy, and her publishing company had felt the same when she had first cast the idea to them for Book 4. Her company had put pressure on her to change Veltro into a slightly more dark demeanor than what he originally was. They feared his free-loving persona would deter others from finding his book as interesting as the others, with their somewhat dark and brooding mains that the first 3 books had held. Only her editor had told her to keep Veltro the same, despite it going against the company's wishes. As Jules read more of the comments, they mainly agreed that Jules was failing, and it didn't help to encourage her at all. There were only a few that had been wholeheartedly supporting Jules, and hoped that she was doing well. The sinking feeling in her gut grew, and she turned from the computer. She was letting them down, the one thing she never wanted to do. Her readers used to always support her, but now half of them had turned against her, some of them even suggesting other authors that were similar to her. It felt like a stab in the back, and that was when her doubts started to fill her mind again. She had been an author for almost 6 years now. Sales were always good, and it had been a rough start, but as of late she had felt like her heart had left her writing. Battling with herself and with the ideas that filled her mind, along with trying to please her company and her devoted readers, was a lot of pressure, one she couldn't seem to even take a small breather from. She had asked for a vacation, but her company had told her not yet, that they needed her to still finish Book 4 from her Fallen series, and then she could go on a vacation for a week. In her mind, a week wouldn't be long enough. She needed at least 2 or 3 weeks to clear her mind, to relax and not think about her writing or anything else associated with it. She was running low. She couldn't understand why one of the other authors had gotten almost an entire month of vacation while she was told she could only have a week. It had pissed her off, which didn't help her focus on her writing in the slightest. What am I going to do? I can't keep this up. Should I quit? It hadn't been the first time she'd pondered the idea in the last couple of months. Maybe the pressure of everything was just too much. The thought of letting people down even more, the doubts that her books really weren't worth. the praise they had attained, that it was all pointless, no matter how much she tried, that she would never, ever be as good as other authors, and trying to be one of them only made her look even more foolish. Maybe that was true. Perhaps that's why her company allowed another author almost a month of vacation, and she was only allowed a week, because she was a waste of their time. The thought settled deep into the pit of her mind, and she felt sick. Why had she tried so hard when her efforts were met with such treatment? Jules loved her books, her characters, their stories. Sharing them with others was simply a blessing. She didn't really care about the profit of it all, as long as people enjoyed the stories. That wasn't to say the money wasn't nice. It was what she lived off of. But still, gaining money had never been her sole focus. It had always been to tell the stories of the characters who filled her mind almost day in and day out. When she got to meet her readers at signings and they fawned over her characters with her, that was when she felt the happiest. But at this moment, there was none of that. There was a knock on the door of her house, jerking her from her thoughts. "Jules, come on, open up, please." Of course, her editor would show up. He'd probably been informed about the company's plans to call her and tell her to get her butt in gear. "It's open." Michael opened the door with a small sigh. "Have you been crying?" Jules shook her head. "Close, but no, not yet." "Get ready to leave," Michael said with a soft smile. "What?" He nodded. "Pack up a bag and let's go." He held up 2 tickets for a flight. "I know you want to get away from your writing as a whole, but this is about as good as I can get. So come on. I planned us a trip to Hawaii. I told them it was going to be used as a reference for part of your book, and it was highly needed to finish it. They jumped on it, agreeing that if it would help you get the book done, so be it." "So you lied to them?" Michael shrugged. "I can't stand how they're tearing you down. It's why I don't hound you like them. I know you're hitting a rough patch right now, Jules. I'm here to help you with your book, but I also care about you. We've been working together for 4 years of your writing career. I know you still have plenty of wonderful book ideas to share with the world, but you haven't taken a break for a while and you need it. So don't listen to them. They told me they were going to give you a week. Well, I'm giving you 2. It didn't sound much better than what the company had told her, but, well, perhaps it was a tad better. He continued on. "The first week you sit back, you relax. Don't think about the book, don't look at your phone. Here, I even got you a spare one. They don't have this one's number, only I have it, so we can keep in contact. But I won't bother you. And then on the second week, you sit down and you get this book done, and then you demand they give you an actual vacation, Jules." Jules' heart felt fuzzy as she stared at Michael. The tears she had been suppressing began to fall. "Whoa, Jules, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry. If you don't like this..." Jules shook her head. "No, it's not that, just... Thank you, Michael. Thank you for everything. This sounds amazing. And thank you for not losing faith in me or threatening to go find a different author." Michael smirked. "I would never. You are my friend and the best writer I could ever work for. You have no idea how much it means to have you work on editing your own writing before giving it to me. Not to mention, when I suggest edits, you don't get upset about them and you think of an idea that works for both of us. I know you just need a break, so I'm doing my best to give you one with what I can." Jules wiped at her tears. "Then what are we waiting for? I want to try and get my writing flow back as soon as possible," she said, rushing to pack her bags and hoping that this vacation, as small as it may be, would finally give her the breakthrough she needed. 4 days later. Jules sat on the beach, watching the sunset, the warm ocean breeze making her smile. Michael had been true to his word, not bothering to contact her unless necessary, and she had completely shut off her other phone. Not that she had to worry about it, since Michael had snatched it, telling her he knew how she was and she wasn't allowed to touch anything electronic-wise other than the old flip phone he had given her. It was hilarious watching him check over her belongings to make sure she hadn't snuck in anything for writing. The last 4 days had been amazing. She had slept almost all day after they arrived. She only had a TV in her room, and she had no internet to be tempted to look at the comments on her pages. Michael had really outdone himself this time. She was sure he was dealing with the company, since they couldn't reach her to bother her. For the first time in a while, she felt relaxed and happy. She watched as couples walked along the beach, as children played. Then she noticed someone heading her way. It was a woman, her husband pushing her forward slightly before she stopped in front of Jules. Miss Anne, it really is you. I'm sorry to bother you while you're on vacation, but I've always been a fan of your books, and I was never able to go to your signings. Jules nodded, throwing on a smile. I see, thank you. So, you want an autograph? Much to Jules' surprise, the woman shook her head. No. I mean, yes, but no. Not right now. I swore up and down that I would make it to one of your signings one day. This would be like cheating. Besides, you aren't working right now. I wanted to tell you not to be bothered by the fools who forgot why they started reading your books in the first place. Once again, Jules felt surprised. What? The woman rushed on. You are amazing. You always do your best for your characters, for us as your readers. Even if there are small points that some can't agree with, they are there for a reason. Vels number 1. Jules said, staring at the woman who was now blushing. How did you... Jules began to chuckle. Thank you. Her thanks now genuine. I always read the comments of my readers. A lot of them lately have been hard to swallow, but you stood out among them, doing your best to rally support for me. I'm also sorry. Sorry? Oh no, please tell me you aren't quitting in the middle of Veltro's book, the woman exclaimed, clearly upset at the idea. Jules shook her head. Not anymore. The thought had crossed my mind, but meeting you must have been fate. To be honest with you, I had hit a very rough time. That's why I ran away. My company wasn't going to allow me to take a break. I was starting to feel like it was because my writing wasn't worth it. No! They are just stupid. Ditch them and find a better company. I don't care if small details change, as long as you keep writing. Jules laughed softly. I can't do that, but I can get back my writing groove thanks to you and my editor. Do you have a marker or a pen on you? The woman shook her head, but her husband stepped forward. I have a pen. Jules nodded, taking it. Let's go up to the bar real quick. I want paper to write you a note and give you my autograph. They followed Jules, watching as she asked for a piece of paper, and sat down, writing. Jules glanced towards the woman. What is your name? Oh, it's Melissa Gwyn. Gwyn? Funny, that's the name of the main female in Veltro's book. The woman nodded. I was so happy when I saw that. It was why I was so excited, even if it's just my last name that matches hers. I couldn't help but feel like we were the same person. Sorry if that seems weird. Jules shook her head. Not at all. I'm happy to see people so engrossed in my characters. She handed the woman the note. Sorry it isn't more official, but I hope you enjoy reading this. The woman took the note, reading it. Dear Vels Number 1, you have no idea how greatly our meeting has helped me get back my inspiration. For a while now, I had lost hope in my writing, my company weighing down on me, telling me what I should and shouldn't do. I'd lost the true sight of my books, the reason I had started writing. It was for people like you, who fall in love with my characters, people who hang on the edge of their seats waiting for something, be it good or bad, to happen to the characters and watching them as they grow with each hardship. I had pondered running away from it all, but I know I should face it head on. After all, as my editor said before, I have many more books to share with the world, and you are one of the people I hope will stay with me on this journey. That you will continue to support me no matter what. Thank you for everything. As a special thanks, I am giving you my editor's number. I will inform him, since you and I will be the only ones who know of this letter. When I finish Veltro's book, I want you to be at the grand release. I want to give you the very first copy. I hope you will attend, as it would mean a lot to me. Sincerely, Jules Ann. To my greatest reader, Melissa Gwynn. The woman looked up from the letter to thank Jules, but she had already headed off to contact Michael, to tell him that she was back and ready to finish Veltro's story. Ready to show her company and the readers that doubted her that she was worth every single word she had written thus far, and would continue to write later in the future. The end. First of all, I just want to say thank you guys for your support. I know I've sort of been all over the place, and I'm sorry about that. I wanted to inform you that I will not be publishing through Dream. As it's come to my attention, they simply aren't the type of platform for me. I love being able to write out longer chapters, and with Dream, you're limited per word, and they really only want like 1,300 words per chapter, which really doesn't give me the length that I want to make a solid chapter. So I've taken everything down, and I will use the 3 books I had started on there for future books to publish to Draft to Digital. This story prompt I did today honestly lies heavily in line with me at some points. I love my books and I want to write them out and share them with you, but I also feel like I hit a wall quite often, and as of late I've been dragging while working on them. Usually I can pop out like almost 2 to 3 chapters a day, and I wasn't even getting 1 chapter done, which is a major difference. But after this little side venture, sort of waste of my time, I feel refreshed, and I plan to fully refocus on my books and do my best to get them done for you, but still make sure that they're good quality. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you all for your support. It really does mean a lot to me. My self-doubt has a way of getting to me a lot, which makes it hard to believe that what I'm writing is actually worth it. But I have multiple friends and family of mine that tell me that my writing is good and that I shouldn't give up on it, and it helps. So once again, thank you. I hope you all look forward to the short stories and books to come. Also, if you would like me to make a few extended short stories that, cross over more than one single little episode, let me know in the comments, and I can make some long-running ones. I don't know how long I'd make them, maybe about 2 to 4 episodes. But if you would like that, just let me know, and I will think up of a couple and work on them. I do believe I will keep posting short stories only twice a month, as it has been less stressful and allows me to focus more on my books. And then, as always, if you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!